Welcome to Movie Recalled. In this video we are going to explain movie named as Lagaan, which was released in 2001. Let's get started. In 1893, Champaner was a small village in India. The people of Champaner depended on agriculture, unlike those thousands of other villages as well. A British cantonment surrounded the village. The port of the Raja of this province is located 2 miles south of the cantonment. The British protected Raja's domain from attacks by neighboring rulers. They also promised the other Rajas protection from this Raja. For this double dealing, the British collected the tax from Rajas, which was paid by every farmer in the country. The submission of a portion of the former's harvest to the Raja as a tax. Every Raja collected Lagaan from villages under his rule. Raja would keep one share and give the rest to the British. In this way, British grew very strong. Like these thousands of villagers across the country, the farmers worked day and night with empty stomachs and paid tax to the Raja. Year after year. Last year it rained, but very little, and this year there has been no rain so far. People are looking for a cloudy, dark sky, but not cloudy again. People haven't worshipped at the Siddheshwar temple for the past 3 years, which is in the land ruled by Raja Dila Singh. Next scene, Captain Russell went to the forest for animal hunting and young farmer Bhuvan attempted to distract the deer. Unfortunately, the British squad caught him and Russell warned him. Raja Puran Singh requested Captain Russell to talk with Raja Dila Singh so that people would perform the puja to end hardships they faced last year. Captain Russell agreed on one condition, that is, Raja Puran Singh must have at least one piece of meat. Then Russell will talk with Raja Dila Singh, but Raja replied, "I am a vegetarian and will not eat meat." Then, Rajul requested to pay double tax, as Rajul granted Raja's request to reduce the tax by half last year, so Captain Rajul asked to clear the arrears this year with double tax. Raja Puran Singh issued the order for double taxation. People worried about double taxation. Bhuvan and the people decided to go to the palace and talk to him. The villagers of Champaner await meeting their Raja outside the British cantonment grounds. They want to ask for an exemption from tax, Lagaan, but the Raja is busy watching the British play a match of cricket. A young farmer named Bhuvan makes fun of the game and gets the audience laughing. The sadistic company captain Andrew Russell, who takes offense, overhears this and becomes upset. When the match was over, people requested Raja to cancel Lagaan this year, but Raja told, "My hands are tied, so it's not possible, you have to pay Lagaan." In next scene, Captain Rashul entered and he said it's possible to cancel Lagaan based on one condition. Then he called Bhuvan and asked, "What do you know about our game?" Bhuvan said, "We have played it since we were children. We call it Gilli-Danda." "Do you know the name of the game?" "It's cricket." Rajul challenges Bhuvan to play cricket. "If you beat us in the game, then you don't have to pay Lagaan for 3 years. If you lose, then you will have to pay triple tax, that is 3 times the Lagaan." Now Bhuvan accepts the bet and Rajul decided to play the game after 3 months. Villagers opposed Bhuvan acceptance, saying it's not an easy game, so we will not support you. We will go to Rajaji once again and beg him to save us. The following morning, Bhuvan began playing cricket with a child named Tipu while also inspiring others. He attempted to hit the ball twice, but failed. Then on his third attempt, he hit the ball barely without missing. After that, few more people supported Bhuvan. Suddenly other villagers appeared and tried to attack Bhuvan, but Champaner head stopped them and made the decision to go Rajaji. People asked Rajaji to go and speak with Captain Rajul once, but Rajaji refused, advising instead that you learn their game. Despite protests from the village, Bhuvan gathers a few who support him, and together, they kneel outside the cantonment grounds, trying to understand the game. Elizabeth, Captain Russell's younger sister who is in town, approaches them and offers to help them to understand the game so that the match is played fairly. Bhuvan is overjoyed and the group starts meeting Elizabeth at grounds outside the village to learn the game. Elizabeth began to describe the game's 3 primary components: batting, bowling, and fielding. She also went through many of the game's regulations. Word spreads in the village and others are inspired to join Bhuvan's team. In the meantime, Russell received a call from the British head office, where his senior officers questioned the decision to agree to cancel the tax of the Champaner farmers. "Consider that if you win, you will have a narrow escape, but if you lose, you will be responsible for paying the Champaner taxes." Captain Rajul came to know that Elizabeth is helping the villagers, so he tried to stop her. But she refuses to stop helping the villagers, hiding the fact that she is secretly falling in love with Bhuvan. Meanwhile, Captain Russell decided the players from their team. Back in the village, Bhuvan is struggling to find an 11th player. At a practice game, Katra, a cripple who lives outside the village, fields a ball and returns it to him. As the ball bounces, the spin carries it in another direction. Bhuvan immediately sees value and adds Katra to the team. But villagers were concerned about playing with an untouchable. He sustains pressure again from the villagers and manages to convince them. On the day of the match, Captain Russell won the toss and elected to bat first. The British started the game by batting first with openers Smith and Burton. Deva began by bowling first for Bhuvan's team. Deva took a Smith wicket, but sadly there was no ball. Later, Katra arrived to bowl, but the ball was not spinning, so the openers scored a bunch of runs. After Bhuvan's attempted bowling and Smith was run out at 62 runs. Then Captain Russell entered the game right away. After that, Gooley had taken a second wicket. Burton and Brooks came to bat. Captain Russell playing well with Brooks' support. At the conclusion of the day's play, the British team had scored 182 runs while losing 2 wickets. On that night, Elizabeth noticed that Larka was secretly working for the Britishers. She went to the village and informed Bhuvan about Larka. Larka was to be killed by the villagers, but Bhuvan stopped them. Bhuvan knocked on Larka's door and asked him to open it, so he could enter the temple. Larka was given one more chance by Bhuvan. Larka redeems himself on the next day of the match by taking a diving catch to dismiss Brooks. By playing well together, Rashul and Wesson helped the British team to achieve 271 runs up until lunch. After lunch, Katra arrived for bowl and he claimed a hat-trick by dismissing Wesson, Naught and Flynn. Later Guran came for bowl and got the wicket of Harris' son. Katra, using his spin again, dismissed Benson. The British team total was now 320, however they lost by 8 wickets. The turning point of that innings, when Russell was caught out by Arjun, bowled by Bhuvan. At the end, Deva bowled out Yardley, making the Britishers all out for 322. Bhuvan and Deva arrived at the commencement of Bhuvan's team's batting. Bhuvan and Deva maintained a steady relationship by hitting boundaries. However, Deva was unfortunately run out by Smith at 71 runs. Later Arjun came for bat and blasted a few boundaries. However, bowler Smith attempted to provoke him. Arjun reacted and barely hit the ball, but it was tragically caught by the British squad. When Larka came to take the bat next, Yardley slapped him in the head with the ball. He moved out with no runs after landing on stumps. Barger arrived and blasted 2 boundaries, then left. Later Ismail arrived and he was hurt by Yardley. Now half of the team is out. At the end of the day of the match, Bhuvan team scored 99 runs by losing 4 wickets. Next morning, Bhuvan batted steadily and scored 50 runs with Iswar support. Iswar eventually runs out because he is unable to run between the wickets. Later, Guran arrived and smashed few boundaries. However, he moved out with LBW. Kohli came to bat but ended it without scoring any runs. Next player Ismail arrived after getting hurt earlier. The officials decided to let another player run it for Ismail. Ismail and Bhuvan are now playing consistently and scoring runs. Bhuvan team scored 228 after 20 overs were bowled. The play has 1 hour left to go. Bhuvan and Ismail keep moving forward on their journey by regularly running. In the meantime, Bhuvan finished off his century and Ismail half century. The current score is 293 after losing 7 wickets. Now they have to make 30 runs in 18 balls. Later, Ismail was run out in the game's 3rd final over. Bura entered the field to take the bat, while Bhuvan took the pitch and added more runs to the scoreboard. After losing 8 wickets, the team's current score is 311. They need to get 12 runs in 12 balls. Unfortunately, Bura ran out as well. 1 player remains in, Katra, at this time, and he is seriously handicapped and they need to get 12 runs in 11 balls. While Smith is bowling, Katra is on strike. Bhuvan received a strike after Katra took a single run. Later, Bhuvan took a single for the final ball and a strike for the final over. Now, they need 10 runs in 6 balls for victory and Bhuvan on strike. The last over's bowler is Yardley. Bhuvan hit a boundary on the first ball. For the second ball, Yardley hurt him. For the third ball, Bhuvan took a single. Katra faced the 4th and 5th balls and failed to touch it. Now only the last ball left. They need 5 runs in 1 ball. Bhuvan asked Katra to lift the ball over the boundary line this time, saying that failure would result in a triple Logayan. Katra attempted to strike the ball, but it did not cross the boundary. Bhuvan and the villagers are dissatisfied, while the British team is having fun. Unfortunately, the umpire declared a no ball. The Beuven team still has a chance to victory. This time, Beuven hardly played the ball despite scoring 6 runs. Beuven team won the match and the villagers celebrated their success. In that very moment, suddenly dark clouds appear in the sky and it starts raining, which is welcomed by overjoyed villagers, who have been waiting for the drought to be over that lasted several years. Soon, the British cantonment is disbanded and Captain Russell is transferred to Africa. Elizabeth steps out to say a final farewell to Beuven. She returns to England, carrying an unrequited love for Beuven with her. Meanwhile, the farmers of the village revel in the newly powered monsoon. As rain pours down over Champagne, they look ahead to 3 prosperous years without any taxation. Beuven and Gauri are soon married and the king of the region himself comes to give his blessings. Despite that epic victory, Beuven's name is lost in the pages of history.